Today, we're going to talk about a totally different way to think about building software. It's an approach that's designed to completely get rid of that dreaded black box feeling.
So let's be honest for a second. For a lot of people, especially founders, building software feels totally out of control, right? It's like this black box where you put your money and your ideas in one end, and you just hope for the best. You end up losing control, budgets go crazy, and you're just nodding along to a bunch of technical jargon you don't really get. Sound familiar?
For a long time, this black box was just the way things were done. It's opaque, it's super risky, and it's surrounded by this wall of confusing language. But what if there was a better way? What if you could build inside a glass house where everything is transparent, every decision can be tracked and questioned, and everyone, and I mean everyone, is speaking the same simple language? To really appreciate the solution, we've got to understand the problem. So let's just dig into what makes this software black box so frustrating and honestly so damaging to your project.
Now, you'd think with all these amazing AI coding tools popping up, this whole problem would just go away. But here's the thing. Sometimes it actually makes the black box even darker. These AI agents can write code like lightning, but if you can't see the logic or understand the choices being made, you're not in control. You're just flying blind. Only now you're doing it at 1,000 miles an hour.
So, what's the fix? Well, we stop trying to peek inside the black box. Instead, we're going to shatter it. The idea is to build inside a glass house, where every single move, every decision, every line of code is out in the open for everyone to see and understand. Let's get into how that actually works.
Okay, the whole glass house method boils down to this one simple but really powerful acronym, JOA. It stands for justifiable, observable, and auditable. Justifiable means every single decision has a clear why behind it. Observable means you can actually see the work and measure the results. And auditable means there's a paper trail for everything, a single source of truth. This isn't just a nice little philosophy, it's a strict discipline.
So, where do we even begin? Well, the first pillar is all about tearing down the biggest barrier there is, the language gap. It's literally about making the code speak plain English.
All right, take a look at this. This is a pretty normal chunk of code for a simple notification banner on a website. If you're not a developer, this might as well be ancient Greek. You just have to cross your fingers and trust that it does what you ask it to. This right here, this is the wall of the black box. Now, look at this. This is the exact same logic we just saw, but it's been translated into simple, plain language pseudocode. It's totally clear. You can read the rules, you can see the steps. A non-technical person could look at this and go, wait a minute, that's not quite right. This simple step opens up the code review process to literally everyone on the team.
And that's why this idea of a Rosetta Stone for your project is so important. You absolutely need a shared language that can translate what you want into something the software can understand and that a human and an AI can both work with. It's about getting everyone on the same page from the very start. And a perfect example of this is something called a single interface table, or an SIT. On the left, you've got this super simple table that defines what user data we need, the name, the type if it's required. It's the contract. Then on the right, you see how that simple contract turns into an actual user interface. That same table can also become the database structure or the API. You define it once, in plain English, and it becomes the one source of truth for the whole system.
Okay, so we've got our shared language. Now let's talk about the other big elephant in the room, AI. The second pillar is all about giving our AI coding partners a reliable brain so they can actually work inside our glass house instead of building another black box.
You know, here's the big secret about most AI agents. They're stateless. That's a fancy way of saying they have terrible memory, like no long-term memory at all. Every time you talk to them, it's like they're starting from scratch. They don't remember the big decisions you made last week or the specific way you wanted things named. And that, right there, leads to all sorts of mistakes and messy code. So the solution isn't to try and get the AI to remember things. It won't. The solution is to give it an external brain. And that's what this custom memory bank is. It's just a simple, organized set of 6 text files. Before the AI does any task, it's forced to read all 6 files, every single time. This gives it all the context it needs, without relying on faulty memory. It's a perfect briefing, every time.
And what's great is how simple these files are. Each one has a clear job. You've got the brief, which is the big picture why. The context file, which is the what. System patterns is the how, all your rules. Text act defines the tools. Active context is what we're working on now, and progress gates is a log of what's done. That's it. The why, what, how tools, now, and done. Simple.
This whole structured system also applies to the team itself. It's a concept called a synthetic dev team. You just create very clear roles. You have truth tellers, usually the project owner, who define the what and why. You have builders, a mix of humans and AI, who do the how. And you have reviewers, again, both human and AI, who check everything. It makes the whole process explicit and, you guessed it, auditable.
Which brings us to our third and final pillar, choosing your technology without all the guesswork and arguments. This is all about making decisions based on data, not just hype or what some developer likes best. This is where the justifiable part of JOA really comes to life.
So instead of having endless debates about which database is the best, you use a simple tool called a selection matrix. First, you list out what's important to you, your criteria. Then, you give each one a weight based on your priorities. Finally, you score your options against those criteria. The math literally gives you the answer. Your decision is now totally justifiable. Anyone can look at this and see exactly why you picked one tool over another. It takes all the emotion and bias out of the equation.
So, we've got clear communication, a smart AI with a perfect memory, and a bias-free way to pick our tools. What's the payoff for all this? Well, it's simple. You are finally back in the driver's seat.
And here's how you actually put it all together day to day. It's a super disciplined workflow called the thin slice method, or ADREI. You work on one tiny little piece at a time. First, you analyze it. Then a builder drafts a solution. A reviewer checks it. The builder edits it. And only then do you integrate it. This simple, step-by-step process keeps things clean and prevents the project from spiraling out of control.
And all of this leads to a massive shift in how you think about development. You're no longer just throwing a request over the wall and hoping the translator on the other side gets it right. You are an active collaborator in the process. This isn't translation anymore, it's true collaboration with everyone working together inside that glasshouse.
Look, the methods and the tools to get rid of the black box for good, they're here. It definitely takes discipline, and it's a new way of working, but the result is that you are always in control. Your idea is ready to go. The only real question left is, are you ready to build it in a glasshouse?